You're obviously frustrated. A game like that can be really demoralizing for a coaching staff and for 18 to 22-year-olds, maybe whose confidence is already shaken. How do you make sure that it doesn't just completely obliterate their confidence?
Well, it's mid-season and they're big boys, and so we got to go to work and be tougher with what we're asking these guys, and demand more and demand that they do it. And you know, some guys are going to answer the call, and other people won't be able to last, and that's fine. But at least we can weed out who's able to do it, who's not. The ability-wise, there's a lot of guys that can do it. It's just, you know, and like I said, it's all individual based on guys if they want to buy in or not. And unfortunately, it's hard to tell who can do it, except for in the game. And we've had guys that we felt like, okay, this guy's not doing a great job at this position, but he's playing well. Let's move him to a different position where it's less thinking and it's a lot easier for his skills. And yet he still fails to do what we ask. And so in that point, it becomes a point where it's a little bit defiant, and that we can't coach that, you know. So we're gonna have to put the right guys on the field and ask them to do the way we ask, and then make it work. And I think, you ask the players, they'll tell you the same thing. You know, they finally bought in, and you know, I wasn't surprised that we started playing better, but overall we just made more plays and got some turnovers. They still got ready to gain some yards, get out a couple third downs, but that was all technique issue. The fundamental part, we shouldn't have to keep coaching fundamentals that we established from day one, that we see in practice all the time. And so if we have to go back to that and keep coaching that stuff, then we're really wasting time with not getting the technique better. And that's where we're at right now. We're trying to rally and make sure that's cleaned up, and make sure that shows up in game day, and then make it so it's like muscle memory where they just naturally do it all the time. And at the same time trying to fix our technique issues, which we're giving up some plays, you know, in the fade ball, and also, you know, with our carry and drops in our zone drops, and also our pass rush. But we're dealing more with guys doing the fundamental part, focusing more on that, and then less time with technique. And I'd like to spend more time with technique. It's got to the point now where I'm not really worried about what Colorado or who the opponent is. I'd like to see our guys tackle better and work on the fundamentals. And the scheme part, we'll be fine with it, because you know, with our coaching staff and what we can do as a defense, we'll be fine with the scheme. Our guys need to execute the fundamentals, and then the scheme will work itself out. Well, we're 2-4 and 0-3 in the league, so that's not really good. That's 0% to me. So yeah, I'd feel a lot better if guys did the stuff we asked them to. You know, it's hard to grade guys when it's I mean, what do you grade on when guys haven't even scored anything on the sheet? So it's like handing in a blank piece of paper for the test. Scantron test, there's no bubbles filled in. That's what we did this first half, and that's I got to take control of it and make sure it doesn't show up. And we have a game and opportunity at home to make it better. And the promising part is that we did it right the second half, and I thought the guys were a lot more competitive, but it just felt cleaner, you know. And the good part about it is that Washington State doesn't let off the gas whenever they're up. They just keep going, and they're so, you know, up until the very last drive where they knelt down, they're airing the ball out, which is great, because we need to work on that stuff. But it also allowed us to get off the field and get some turnovers and get the ball in our offensive hands, and we just need to do that the whole game. And so what's promising is that they did it for a half, and that they learned it and they saw it on film. Because if you watch the film with us, the first half was ugly, and the second half was like, oh, okay, well, yeah, it's working. And so let's do that for a whole game, and we'll see what happens. And then it'll be easier to grade us. But that I didn't think I'd have to worry so much about things like tackling and all that stuff when it came to game time, when it looked really promising of what we're doing in spring ball camp and even in the scrimmages. And then the games itself, that's just how important experience playing these games are, because you can't simulate that. You can simulate, try to do as much tackling as you can, but when you get into a stadium, an opponent's stadium, you can't simulate that, and in a different crowd, and you know, you're on the road, and having guys to do what you're asking them to do, it doesn't work. It hasn't worked. So we'll win games if our guys decide to do what we ask, both on the offense and defense and special teams. You know, the excuses of young and all that. So I get that, but that can't show up. But when we can do it, and we've done it before, and it doesn't show up in the games, then I think that goes beyond youth and inexperience, and that's trust and guys not believing in the system. And so either you buy in and you believe in it, or you can't be part of it.